Hello all and welcome back to another walkthrough video. This is the 6th in a series of 9 events where we are designing new respawn pods for the Space Engineer's star system. When we're done, we'll have a starter pod for each location, and I'll be posting a mod which makes them available to everyone. This week we're going to be taking a look at the alien planet pod submissions. The theme for this one was survey pods, so hop in and imagine yourself being deployed down on the alien surface to run experiments and determine settlement viability. This is my pod. We'll take a look around the outside real quick. It does come down and unfold, so this antenna is folded up when it drops, and then when it lands, that unfolds, and the door opens. This you can open and close on your own if you like. Pretty simple little door. It's got a little hazard warning down there so you don't crush yourself.
It's pretty interesting. Kind of like that so far.
Yeah, it's kind of a... I like that design. We've got the battery shoved in a nook. You can imagine it sliding in there. A little notice sign. I saw this notice sign on like 3 or 4 other people's submissions, which is cool. Around the side, we've got access to the hydrogen engine. A bunch of little flavor tab things here. This stuff runs the door. This is the medium cargo container. You can access it directly, or you can access it through the connector at the back. Just fine. You can't grab the oxygen bottles and whatnot from out here, but that is in the airlock. We'll see that in a second. Little storage area, just flavor, but it looks cool. And then some more access panels over here. This is where you alert Keen Software House, apparently, if you're having a bug problem. And you can climb up the outside over here, in case you gotta do maintenance up top. There's really not anything that you have to go up here to do, it's just flavor. I guess you could climb up here and build if you don't have a jetpack, so it's an option at least. Coming inside here, this is the airlock. Inside the airlock we have access to your H2O2. We have a medical thing down here, and then if you look, this actually operates the ramp, and you can see through the ramp a little bit, see what's out there before you flop it down if you want to. The sensor on the side just closes the doors behind you as you walk through them, so you don't have to do that manually. Pause for a second and then walk through the next one. You can hear all the doors closing behind you, so you can make sure you don't lose air that way. Inside is pretty snug, but I think it's cozy. We've got a little kitchen area over here, a little burner, chair, and microwaves up here. It's the alien planet, so I gave you a Sabroid plushie. Seemed fitting. Down here we've got a fridge. In the fridge I gave you a little bit of cola and coffee. And there's a little heat vent down there too. Figured that was a nice touch. You can keep your feet warm while you're sitting there. We got a little bit of hand storage underneath the bunk bed. The bunk bed is here, and the place is pressurized, so you can sleep here and not die. Some cargo. The cargo, actually, I did stick some stuff in it. There's some ice in this one, and this one I think has, yeah, a parachute hatch and a power kit. So that's kind of hidden in there. You can't see it through the inventory screen. I didn't realize that until I built this ship. You actually cannot toggle the inventory on for storage units, these barrels. You can never see it in your inventory. You have to actually click on it and then go to the little suit icon. But interesting. You do have a medium cargo container and a connector for storage starting out on this one, so it's a little bit more than the default starter pods. And you have access to the survival kit right here. You can always use that. The buttons up top, when you spawn in, you actually spawn in this chair, so you're dropping onto the planet and you can look around. You can drop to third person and look at where you're coming in, which is kind of nice. I see the fog is back. So when you come in, that's where you're going to be sitting. Underneath all this stuff, you've got a little bit more storage. You've got a gun rack there. This right here is actually a hydrogen tank. It is piped up, and if you need to fill hydrogen bottles from this little tank, you can do so by just shoving them in here. They're the exact volume of one of these small tanks, so it does allow that. When you land, though, the first thing you probably want to do is tap this number 2 button a couple times. This just unlocks your mag plates, and that will help you settle into a nice level position on the ground, which is good. I figured I'd add that button. The number 1 button just switches your comms from using your antenna to using your beacon. So right now the beacon's off. If I click the button, the beacon turns back on. And the beacon just has a range of 20 kilometers, whereas the antenna has 15. So a little bit of a swap up there. The number 3 button is for turning the survival kit on and off. The survival kit, when you turn it off, will turn itself back on in 2 minutes. So if you're spawning in and you want to, well, if you want to respawn somewhere else, you can turn your survival kit off, and then the forced respawn will spawn you elsewhere. I figured I might as well add it while I'm making this entire grid a lot more elaborate than a normal starter pod. I might as well put all the things that I like in it. But that's pretty much everything inside here. It is similar in function to a default pod, but it is a lot more blocks and resources. So yeah, that's pretty much it for mine. Close it all up. There are no thrusters or anything on this one. It's just one big battery, one of everything that you would normally expect. It does have a gyro hidden inside there to help the landing process, but if you want to salvage that to build a rover or something, or a ship right away, there's probably enough materials on this thing to get a flying vehicle up and running pretty quickly. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The next one we're going to look at, let's look at, this one was Salem's. I like the outside.
Yes, that one was mine.
Yep, I like the deck area. This is the only one that has a lot of its science equipment on the external deck area. It's the only one really with, well, yeah, it's the only one really with a deck area, but it's pretty cool. Over here you can access the survival kit. So this is where you can put large components in and out of your survival kit while you're processing them. You can recharge from the balcony or from the ground. You can reach it from the ground over here, which is probably how you'll use it most of the time. I like that you can see the charge on your battery too. That's always a nice feature. And then over here, this is your O2H2, so when you want to recharge your bottles and whatnot, you can access them from right outside here. This one's built, it looks like, with the intention that you're going to be spending 90% of your time outside, which is fine. I like that. It's a unique take on the research station. Oop, bit of a rubber band there. All right, perfect. I'm going to turn that on auto. Overall settlement viability. Hey, I like that. That's cool. It's on point. Do you got a weather thing? Makes sense. All right. Do these buttons? No, these buttons aren't set up for anything, are they?
No, the buttons don't do anything. It's just the LCDs. The buttons can be set up to do something depending on whatever the user wants, but I just had it there for flavor.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. All right, coming inside, we have a little tiny little interior. It's like a little apartment basically on the inside. You don't have any of the research stuff in here. That's all outside on this one. But I love this little apartment area. A little table. When you sit in the chair, the window's at the perfect location for looking outside, which is very nice. I'm going to turn off all these waypoints. There we go. Much better. So that's pretty cool. Nice kitchen setup. I actually almost did the exact same thing above my sink. I have this same LCD, and I put the time on it, but it didn't look good in mine, so I got rid of the time. But this looks really nice in here. Even have the oven. I didn't have an oven in mine. And the bunks over here. It kind of bothers me how you can never see anything in the bunks. Mine, when you jump in the bunk in mine, you're just looking straight into a wall. That's actually why I decided to add the chair, so that when you spawn in the chair. And you can see, and you can't actually go into third person in a bunk. So when you're dropping in mine, I had to add the chair so that you could do this and look around at your surroundings. Otherwise, you were just looking at a wall and had no idea what was happening. And if you jumped out of the bunk, you'd just shake around inside the thing as it landed. So I like that this one has the chair and the bunk as an option for that reason. And there is a little fridge here and a gun rack inside as well. Very nice.
With a gun and ammo.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I don't worry too much about what's loaded into these things, because when I actually put them into the mod, I usually tweak things. Like, this is actually perfect, though. I probably wouldn't change anything on this one for actually putting it in a mod. A little bit ice, one of each tanks, parachutes in the hatch, which is good, and then a gun. The data pad that spawns with economy is automatic, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you have economy enabled, whatever seat you spawn in, it will spawn a data pad into that seat. Pretty cool. Did I miss anything on this one? Got the beacon. There isn't any storage on this one, but that's totally fine. That's actually standard for like the vanilla starter pods. So perfect. And it's got the O2H2. It has access to everything. I really like this one as a starter pod. I think it's excellent. I actually looked through a lot of these before doing the tour here, and I'm really happy with all of them. I think they're all pretty sweet. All right, we're gonna look at this one next. I think this one was built by Inu. Yeah, this one was built by Inu. I like the gold trim. Gold and white. Oh, looks like a bit of a painting error there. Someone got a little overzealous with their spray gun. It looks cool though. We've got a spinning little antenna dish there. We've got a very triangular solar array. And this does track the sun. I was looking around inside and I couldn't find a button to put it away, so I'm guessing it starts folded up, and then when you land, it deploys. I actually saw a deploy button inside, so maybe you have to hit that button, but it's already deployed, so we're going to just leave it as is. Looks pretty cool. Coming on inside here. There's a lot of buttons on this one. We need to read what all of them do. Timer block, air toggle. I assume this pressurizes and depressurizes the interior so you don't lose air. It does start a timer block. This is why I need the people here to explain what their ships do. But we're going to assume that that one depressurizes the interior, because that's what makes the most sense. And then when it's depressurized, it probably, yeah, opens or closes the door. That happened automatically when the timer ended. So we're just going to assume the best. We're not going to worry about it too much. Lots of control panels inside here. I think you are meant to be laying on the floor as you use these, but I do like them. I like the clear screens too. This is not something I thought of, but it actually looks really good, and a couple people used them. Using the transparent LCDs with these graphs and whatnot looks pretty sweet. Let's read what these buttons do. The interior pressure, tank stockpile, O2 gen on and off, toggle 2. It started that thing again. Not sure what that's supposed to do, but something with the door and the pressure. We have access to the survival kit in here and a fridge. I can see there are 4 parachutes, so this thing should land nice and soft. Gun rack actually has stuff in it too. Looks like everyone actually loaded their ships up this time. Yeah, with tools and everything. You don't actually have to have tools, but the player will spawn with tools. But it's not bad to have. And the weapons? Let's see if there's anything sneaky in here, because you can't see that in the inventory screen. We've got a cryo container, or a cryo sleep casket. What is it called? Cryo chambers. I always think of RimWorld when I see them, and it's like cryo casket or something in that game. But we have a huge storage container in this one. Well, pretty darn big, which is nice. We don't have access to our O2H2 though. The O2H2 is attached directly to the oxygen tank, so you can't actually put bottles in or out of it, which means you can't recharge your bottles. At least not the normal way, the normal vanilla way. On our server, you should be able to do it by just holding recharge on the survival kit. It'll fill your bottles once you're full, but it's worth noting. I would like to see access at least to refill my hydrogen bottles, because I like to fly around a lot, and the alien planet has slightly higher gravity, so you're going to be wanting to refill, like holding a bottle and wanting to refill a bottle fairly often if you have access to fly around. What do we have for batteries? I saw a bunch of batteries like in the floor. We do have a large one, and then we have a bunch of small ones too, so ample battery power for sure. In combination with the solar panel, you should have plenty of power in this vehicle. Should be able to self-sustain itself. Yeah, let's look around the outside a little bit more. I want to look at the connection points. I saw that there were a couple of them. do I have access to what I want access to from outside? Mainly the survival kit and the cargo. And the way these are hooked up directly to the modular cargo, and that's direct, yep, that's hooked up to this. So you should be able to throw stuff in and pull components out. Should be able to throw stone in and pull components out from outside, which is good. That'll make building a lot easier. I see there's a broadcast controller and an action relay here. I wonder what that's used for. I wonder if it's just decorative, or if maybe they're, like, I didn't see a drone or anything. Yeah, I think it's just decorative. All right, let's move on to the next. This one is snow tigers. They went for the chrome bubble look, which I actually kind of like. The solar panel is also tracking the sun on this one. Very nice. I like the way the outside looks. There's one comment. I was thinking about this before when I was looking at these. I think this would look better with the default connectors on it. Because everything about this is very rounded. And then you have these big square connectors sticking out. I'm going to do this. What if you just did that? Would that not look better? I feel like that looks like it fits better. Because it's rounded and the whole thing is rounded. Maybe it's because the edge seams don't... That's what you said? Yeah. I think it looks better this way, for sure. But, to each their own. It's just a matter of preference. These ones actually look more airtight than the other version, but I think the other version just makes more sense to me. I don't know. Let's jump inside, see what we're actually working with. I actually like the silver. I have the silver armor and I never use it, but it actually kind of looks good when you just make everything silver. All right, so we've got our workstation over here. We got some data processing. Again, the clear screens with the graphs on it. I really like the way they look. A whole bunch of buttons. Door open, closed, vent, mag plates. Here's a solar deploy and a solar undeploy. We'll try that. Is there a seat I can jump in real quick to get third person? No. So we're going to have to just hit that and jump out. All right, so the solar panel's putting itself away. It looks like it just spins back to this orientation and then folds down. That's pretty cool. I like that. Now we can deploy it again. And this one is a rotor lock for the solar panel. Probably while you're falling, you want the rotor lock on so that it's not whipping around up above you. I noticed that I had to do that for my antenna, which unfolds when you hit the ground. All right. As far as functional blocks, this looks very similar to the default starter pod, except that you start with a medium cargo container in addition for extra storage. You've got the large battery. The O2H2 is hooked up directly through large cargo to the connector on the outside, at least on that side, and it's directly connected up to the cargo container over here. So that is good. I know I can refill my bottles. The survival kit is also hooked up with large connector to the medium cargo container and that connector. So I can also get all of the large components in and out. Function-wise, that's all wonderful. We can also, this right here is a hydrogen tank. If you have to refill your hydrogen bottle out of the tank, you can access that right here. So as far as functional placement of blocks, I really like this. This is very good. I approve. Also, the oxygen tank is accessible through large connectors as well, because on that side you have the other connector. So if you don't have ice, but you have oxygen in your tank and you want to refill your bottle, you can go outside, go to that connector on that side, and put your oxygen bottle right in that oxygen tank. So very good. We have a cryo sleep in case you're worried about someone venting the air, and we have a bed, and it's pressurized in here. So you have two options for sleeping if you want to survive while you log out. Ooh, we have a nice little inset thing. I need to use that more. These inset LCDs are very nice. A little bit of a kitchen over here. There's no sink, but that's okay. Their water is dispensed directly into their mugs. That actually kind of makes sense. That's not bad. Here's the custom turret controller. It's showing grid power right now, which is interesting. We've got a music player. No tracks available. I approve. And right above the door, we've got guns and medical stuff. That makes sense. Looks pretty good. I might change the connectors. Personal preference entirely, but I might change the connectors if it was me. Other than that, I like the way this one looks a lot. Like the rest of them, they all look really nice this time. And function-wise, they're all great too, so... Just flip through here real quick, see if there's anything surprising that I didn't notice, like warheads or something like that. It does have 4 parachute hatches, a couple small cargo containers. I don't know exactly where those are, but it's not a huge concern to me. Yeah, looks like we got everything on that one. Pretty cool. Last but not least, we're coming over to AWOL here. AWOL is the only one that made a hyper compact one with an interior. The rest of them are almost the exact same size. AWOL went a little bit more compact with his, which is cool. We'll look around the outside first. We've got solar panels up top. We've got a camera for use with the remote control, if I remember correctly. The remote control is right inside here, so you can fix yourself a little bit while you're landing this one. And then we've got the searchlight, which can be used as a camera and look around with that. There's the gyro up top, spinning hinge thing. I think we have, do we have 3 or 4 of these this time? I like these a lot. I always like our little like radar stuff. All right, we've got the oxygen O2H2 generator on the back here. It is hooked up so it can get ice, and we've got an intake for air. I didn't actually look at most of the rest of them to see if they have air intakes. Mine does in fact have an air intake. It's right here. It's hidden. So it does pull air in. You don't actually need... All you need is power. You don't actually need ice to make sure the inside is pressurized. Salem, did you have an air intake on yours? Oh yeah, Salem has an air intake. Very nice.
Yeah, right on the roof. There's
Yep.
also the vents just above the sink, so that way it
Here's
just
one.
pipes through and filters it. Yeah.
So Inu has one? Man, if this one has one, then everyone has one. But I didn't actually see one on this. I don't want to rule it out. We're going to look at the inventory real quick and see if there's...
You could easily add one right there, that conveyor.
I don't see any air vents. Dang it. Did they rename their air vents? Some people rename their blocks with new names entirely instead of just adding like parentheses or something. Oh yeah, they renamed. There's alien pod vent. I think that's just on the inside, right? So they don't have one, but yeah, they could replace this one small conveyor with an air vent as an air intake, and that would be perfect. So no issues there. All right, sidetracked, back to AWOLs. Looking at the back here, we've got some external storage area. These you have to access by hand through the top, which is not the most convenient way to access them, but it works. I actually think, yeah, I like them. If you stand back further, you can access them maybe. Yeah, well, you need to make these easy to access. You've got ice in one of them. Wait, is that... No. Okay, no, they're empty. Alright, there's storage on the outside there. That's just extra storage if you need it. If I was spawning in with this AWOL, I would probably grind those down and flip them sideways right away, just so I could get into them. That would be my solution. This over here, this bulge over here is the survival kit, and you can access that from the outside on either side. We've got, right above the survival kit, a whole bunch of utility stuff. There's actually a really sneaky gun rack up here. I would not have seen that. I didn't see that until just now, even looking at these beforehand. And we've actually got a little container too. This is like a utility storage rack up here. All sorts of goodies. So that's pretty neat. The front here is the large connection point for the survival kit. If you wanted to expand the survival kit and add some storage, you could just remove the front bit here and then put a cargo container. So easily expandable. Does this button thing do anything? I see big red buttons, and I always assume they're going to self-destruct.
It's pure decoration.
Yeah, that's totally fine. People can set it up for things if they want. I would probably as a modification, not before using this as a starter pod, but like, you know, starter pods are supposed to be basic, but I would probably use those buttons to do like a pressurized, depressurized for the interior. Just toggle the air vent or something inside. Nice compact interior. Super compact. We've got a full kitchen. Here's a seat for when you spawn in and to just chill. You've got access to the survival kit on the inside here. So that's how you're going to recharge your power. This is the O2H2, so this is where you can put your bottles in and out through the large connection point. Little medical area. Bunk bed. There's the big battery right there. I like that big battery is airtight. It lets you do crazy stuff like this, which is pretty cool. I have the same thing in my airlock. It's actually the battery that's keeping it airtight. Oh, that's pretty much everything. It says use a remote. Wait, if you spawn in, are you facing that sign? Yeah, you're probably facing that sign that says use remote.
You are.
That's very nice, actually. So it's like you open this up, you go to the remote, you hit control. Now you've got the camera, and then you can unlock your landing gears. Relock them. Use the gyroscope that's up top to level yourself so that you are good to go. I like that, actually. I thought for a second that the user remote was just a sign for me, but it actually, for anyone who's spawning, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's perfect. It's nighttime now. Oh, SonOfAtoms. I totally forgot about yours. Let's look at that one too, actually, while we're here. I'll just spawn that one in. Not something I normally do, but I'm feeling pretty chill and generous today. I was gonna say I'm not finding it. All right. Ooh, is it gonna crash? Oh, it didn't. It had parachutes anyway. All right. Here's the door. Oh, survival kit in the floor. Wait, you know what this reminds me of? Okay, this might not make any sense to some people, but this reminds me of an enchanting table in Minecraft, inlaid in the floor. And you'd put like, there'd just be like that weird tripping hazard where your enchanting table was. And you'd put like some sort of bars that you could reach through to go get your enchanting.
Oh, yeah.
That is exactly what this reminds me of. So this is how you access the survival kit, which is kind of funny. I actually like that because it reminds me of Minecraft. That's cool. The rest of this, these are actually super cool little like control command areas. That is really neat. If you ignore the fact that all the text is sideways, I mean, I can't really read the text with my graphics anyway, so I would never know. But yeah, this is pretty cool. This controls the utility arm. Okay. You've got custom turret controller and whatnot set up for that with the camera. That's pretty cool. The rest of the arm is not there, but the elbow rotor thing is there. This, I assume, would be how you would fly the vehicle, if you could fly it, or while you're dropping and landing in with it. Got lots of buttons and panels around that. Very nice. Can I go in this room? Kind of. This is a cryo room. Ooh. Those lights blinking. Did I just see that? Or was that in my head? Oh, yeah. The lights are blinking. That's a pretty cool look. I like the look of this floor. It kind of reminds me of some of the small grid apartment submissions from that thing that I never made a video of 1,000 years ago. That people have been complaining about for at least 8 months. Oh, man. That was on my list of things to get done before the new year. And then I got sick. And then I didn't want to do anything. Alright, this is pretty cool. I like this. I'm going to tear it apart a little bit just to see what the connection points look like underneath. Shred that. Okay, so we do have a lot of open space in here. You can use this for something. You could have a house inside your house down here. Secret base down here. I like that. All right, we've got cargo. O2H2 is hooked up to large connection points. We do have a big battery there. Here's the survival kit, also hooked up to those connection points outside. This here is the oxygen tank. That one is not... That one doesn't look like it's hooked up with large connection points. That's okay. At least it's there. And what is on the other side of that? What's going on over here? I think not a whole lot. Oh wait, that was probably, oh yeah, that's probably to get to this. Yep. Okay, so that's to get the air and stuff over into that. Interesting. Oh, it's definitely a unique design. I kind of like it. Look at the data array up top here. It's elaborate. Again, we've got the spinny. I love these. We're like 4 for 5 with these things. Basically the same setup, right? Mine's spinning a little slower. This one has a spinny antenna. This one has a spinny. So we're 4 for 6. I like the little like columns too. I did something similar on mine. The columns look good as like extra little antenna related things. Yeah, a column with a beacon on it. A bunch of these power things. These remind me of having to do wires in Among Us. Every time I see them, I'm like, it's the wire panel. I'm gonna get stabbed if I look at this too long. So critiques for mine. I did test this one. This one's already actually implemented in the mod I made for all of my own submissions. The problems I've noticed is it needs more parachutes. Sometimes it hits the ground at like 15 meters per second and one of the feet crunches. So I think I could add a couple parachutes, maybe even bring it up to 3 parachutes, and then I can get rid of the gyroscope. If I balance 3 parachutes nicely, it should land perfectly level every time. The other issue I found is if I land on an extreme hill, this thing will roll sideways. Maybe add a ore detector, just so you can salvage it and put it on some sort of moving vehicle. Maybe actually just adding the ore detector in like a storage area so it looks like something that you should pick up and put somewhere else. I think that would be cool. But otherwise, honestly, I'm pretty happy with this. It's a lot bigger for a starting pod than I usually prefer, but yeah, it's not bad. Critique for this one. Is this the one with the oxygen issue? Yeah, so main critique for this one would be let me have access to the O2H2 so that I can recharge my bottles. And if I don't get that, give me access to an oxygen tank and a hydrogen tank so I can put my bottles into those. Other than that, I like this one a lot, and I don't think there's really no issues function-wise. There's no issues function-wise with any of these. They're supposed to be starter pods, so even if you couldn't do a lot of things with them, that's kind of the point, right? You've got to improve your design and build on it. Not the end of the world. Critique for this one, use the round ones. Use the round ones like that and put an air intake right here. Look at that, right there. There we go, problem solved. I think those are my only critiques for this one. And that's the round conveyors, that's entirely a personal preference. Ah, there's a sneaky, I didn't see this before, there's a sneaky thing under the bed. Is there anything in it? No. There should have been something funny in that. There's another critique for you. Put something funny in the sneaky cargo under your bed. Like a data pad with a diary in it or something, you know? AWOLs? I want to be able to access these barrels. That's my critique.
Just my storage containers.
Yeah, the storage units, I want to be able to access them, because right now I have to fly to access them, and that's not something I want to do a lot on the alien planet. Everything else is pretty good on this one. No complaints. Okay, maybe, I know this is like supposed to be a storage unit up here, but I would never find that gun rack. Like if I actually spawned in with this, I would find that way later and I'd be like, what the heck? Why? I suppose there's nothing in it, but if there was a gun in that, I would never have found it.
Maybe I need to put a sign up their supplies or something about it. I don't
Yeah,
think
like, or put a storage area sign right like there, you know? And then they'll be like, oh, there's storage up there, and then they'll fly up and take a look, and it'll make sense. Yep, storage area, that's perfect. Actually fits up there nicely too.